actually met with my buddy and some other people, and the topic of discussion was, is China on the verge of collapsing? My buddy, I think I've mentioned it a few times already. They own a factory out in China. They make spoons and stuff like that, plastic utensils, and their factory is shut down. And they're just trying to figure out what are they going to do next. I I actually have no idea. And my other buddy, he's in the garment industry. He makes clothing out in China. Well, he uses China to make clothing, and he's basically a private label clothing manufacturer, and he is in dire straits as well. And we're just trying to figure out what are they gonna do. I think the clothing guy, he's gonna figure it out. He he's already been in talks of moving operations out to Vietnam, and that's why he kind of wanted to get my input on what's the best way to do that. So I just gave him some pointers on what to do or what areas to go to. So he's gonna take a trip out there and see some manufacturers, get some connections and whatnot, and see how he can redo everything. But he's been in the garment industry for, I want to say, like 30 years now, and just like he's super stressed. He has a little one. He's got an older kid that's already in college, and he's got a little one, a little late to the party. But he's stressed because the little one, the college kid, like, once you're in college, you're on your own. But the little one, he's still got to support and work for. That's all he talks about. So he's got to keep going. But the spoon manufacturer, they are in a different scenario. He is second generation. His father started the business of making plastic utensils, and so he's second generation. His father's still involved in the business, but he's taking over, and every year he's getting more and more responsibility. I think at this point he's probably like 80% of the whole operation in terms of like managing it and keeping it going and whatnot. And he's in a completely different scenario, because when I first met them, it was around the time where we had the issues with the oil. I don't know if you guys remember, oil prices surged a while back, and it's something that a lot of people don't think about, but oil barrels affect plastic prices because you use oil to make plastic, right? So he had a hard time securing oil to make plastic, basically, to make the spoons. And then so they got out of that, and then now 2-3 years later, we're in this scenario right now. So I actually have no idea what he's gonna do, because I don't know if you guys saw my video earlier, that a lot of Chinese factories are shutting down, and his factory is no different. His factory is shut down because there's not enough orders to basically support their workforce. And in my video I was talking about earlier, a lot of these factory owners, factory bosses are basically just shutting down and just like disappearing because they don't know what to do. Here's the thing, right? Let's just take my plastic, my buddy here that's got the plastic utensil business, right? They use basically extruders to make the plastic utensils, right? The plastic goes in to a machine, it heats it up, it goes into a mold, and it shoots out plastic spoons, right? The machines that go into that cost hundreds of thousands, right, for each one, and he's got a whole bunch of them to make thousands of spoons per second, right? And the spoons, he'll make like half a penny each, or like pennies and pennies on pennies on each spoon, tiny pennies, right? But you add them up, it makes decent money. Margins are super thin. Literally, 1 penny is a big deal because you're talking about fractions of a penny per spoon, right? And you gotta add them up to just make 1 penny. And oil prices and whatnot, all these price changes affects his business a lot. And with the tariffs, already it's impossible, because think about this, okay? Hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of equipment to make pennies, right? And then you need employees to run the machines, right? So you're talking about a huge overhead to make pennies every day. And yeah, so layoffs are coming, and then you got to think about the other side of that. Well, once you start laying off the employees, what are they gonna do? I mean, the story I saw earlier is that their factories, they're basically just shutting the doors and not paying anybody. Imagine they, you know, they get paid just like how we do, once every 2 weeks, once a week, once a month, whatever. It's you do work and then you get paid later, right? And imagine you work for 2 weeks. Most people are bi-weekly, right? Um, you do work for 2 weeks. It's payday. Factory shuts. Your company shuts down, and it's not like how it is over here, where in America, where there's like remedies. Like there's unemployment. There's all kinds of stuff that you can kind of like get on. Um, they might, I don't know, I gotta look this up, but they have these programs, but most of the time it's hard to get going on them because there's billions of people over there, and you get lost in the shuffle real quickly. And so yeah, he's not at that point where they're gonna completely just like ignore everybody, because that was the thing that I remember going back there a few times. I would hear stories of like factory bosses or whoever, they do something shady and they go into hiding. And I remember going around every time I go over there. There's like we have someone show us around, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that house there, that's got this guy there, and he's on the run right now for this, so hush hush. Or sometimes I've visited places and I'm like, oh, where's the big boss, and then they're like, oh, the big boss, he's away right now. And what that usually means is they are in hiding. So the that's the scenario that's going on over there. And you guys could look it up. It's happening all over. So it just got me thinking, like, who's in the better position here? Um, the factory's closing down, or on our side, loss of goods. Now, the issue that I feel like on the American side is there are a lot of goods that cannot be replaced. Like, it's just common sense, okay? There's no, like, getting around it. Some things we just don't make here. It's not something that we do. You know what I mean? We're like, uh, there's like countless of industries that we just don't do here. And the issue on the other side in China is that they've gotten accustomed to having us as a buyer, but without us, they cannot support these big factories. I don't know if you guys have seen some of these factories, but they're huge with millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars of machinery in them. And you would not no, in a normal scenario, you expand very slowly, right? You're like, oh, let's say you're a machine shop, right? And you have a CNC machine. Typically, how it goes is you start off with, one, and then your business does well, and then you get two, and then your business does well, and then you get 10, and then you keep on going until you have like 20. You have like 20 CNC machines, you're doing really, really, really well. 20 CNC machines is multi-millions of dollars of equipment already. If you guys don't know, a CNC machine, at least an industrial one, those things can run from like 200,000, like, no, from 50,000 all the way up to millions of dollars, depending how big and the specs and whatnot, right? So that's what I'm saying. You have like 20 of them, that's like multi-millions of dollars of equipment. Now, how these companies ramped up is maybe they started with two, and then they got some big orders in, and then they used the money from the big orders to front load, and then they'll get like 5 machines right away, and then you're like, oh, we get another big order, and then next thing you know, they got like 100 machines. But once you stop orders in, like, I've been seeing stories right now that they'll literally do jobs underwater just to keep the factory busy, because once you going down the of like having orders, it's also a bad problem. So sometimes they literally do things just to keep everyone busy and just stay afloat. And without us, some of these companies got too big, and then now they don't have enough customers to support it. So they're they're in a bad situation. So I don't know. After I thought about it some more, I feel like maybe maybe Trump's right. At some point, they have to make a deal. I mean, their propaganda machine is basically saying they're ready to fight it to the end, but I don't know. Maybe because we haven't hit the empty shelves yet. Because what China's banking on is that since we are a more democratic country, that someone is gonna start a uprising. Like someone, either side, it doesn't matter, left or right, is gonna start. They're hoping for cracks to form, and then the government will cave in. I think one thing that keeps bothering me a lot is that the media keeps talking about Trump's approval rating. Trump's approval rating is down, it's down, it's down. It's so low, it's the worst ever. But when I hear that stuff, I think to myself, so what? Like, literally, it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. Maybe someone could enlighten me on this. But literally, the approval numbers don't mean jack squatty in terms of what is going on. Because it could hit, I don't know, what is it at? Like, they said like 40% now? It could hit 0 and literally nothing would change. Because what would that, if it gets down to 0, what's the solution? A coup? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's, the approval rating means nothing. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I just got home, so I gotta end the stream. So I'll be back a little bit later. We can pick this back up.